This is Haldeman, Pete Flanigan, please.
Thank you.
No, but he got back in last night. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Is he in his office?
I don't believe so.
Well, just ring his office. Let me talk to them.
All right, thank you.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Flanigan's office.
Is Pete back?
No, he'll be back at about 4:15 in the office.
4:15. Okay, thank you.
Please.
Colson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Cancel that. He's here.
All right, thank you. Please.
This is Haldeman. Would you get Bunny Lasker at the New York Stock Exchange, please, for me?
Yes, sir.
Connally, please.
Thank you, sir.
Hello?
I have Secretary Connally for the...
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, sir. John, I got some very good reaction to your thing, but let me have Chuck Colson tell you what he just had a call from Frank Stanton. Would you like to hear it? Yes, sir. Come here, Chuck. Yeah. Hello. Hi, Chuck. I just got a call from Frank Stanton that he was about as turned on as any guy I've ever heard. He said he watched the entire hour, but it was one of the most exciting hours on television that he had ever seen. That he was just thrilled that they had the opportunity to carry it. They're going to go on 10 to 11 tonight on a special at which he said I've instructed my people to use very large amounts of Connally's press conference. And he said the only thing I would hate like hell to be the editor because I wouldn't know where to cut any portion of that. He said that was just the most sensational thing he'd ever seen. Well, that's great. And wonderful, Chuck. And he really was very. I thought it was one of the best things I've ever seen. I tell you, the gift you have for cutting those fellas down when they're out of line and giving them a good smile and turning the questions against them. I just think it was absolutely brilliantly done. Well, you're mighty kind. That's the first time I think I've ever seen a 1-hour press conference that I was sorry to see end. If I got out, wasn't I? Well, I bet you're tired. Jesus, I was exhausted. Oh, well, that's a hell of an ordeal. Yeah, it really is. That was just superb. Absolutely beautiful. When you can take an old hat-bitten pro like Frank Stanton and turn him on to the point where he's just called and he said, oh, I called you, Chuck, but I just had to tell somebody. I was so excited over it. Well, that's wonderful. Hang on just a minute. Thank you, Chuck. Just a second, sir. Thank you. Mr. Secretary? Yes, sir. Hi, this is Ron Ziegler. Hi, Ron. Say, I thought that was a good confrontation. Good. And I think you handled it very well. Well, I particularly enjoyed the way you responded to that $5 question. With a student? Yeah. It might be worth $6. Yeah. Well, so, they're bastards. They always want. And I also like your multiple choice thing to Dan Shore. Yeah. Where it's the first time you had a multiple choice that you were in college. Yeah. No, I thought it was. Hell, I just figure you got to be yourself with these things, and that's all I can do. No, I think the other effect it had too would clarify a lot of things, and the people out there watching understand exactly the scope of what happened and the meaning of what happened. Well, I hope it helped them to understand it, because I think I was able to say a few things that maybe to augment and implement what the president said last night. So I was the other thing too, I think, where you made it clear that the president would not move to take individual steps, that he wanted to make the comprehensive approach and the comprehensive package. I think shot him down on particularly the reference to your June statements, and the fact that reality changes from day to day. So, well, I thought it was very effective. Congratulations, sir. You're kind to say so. Here's the president. Thank you. Okay, take off 5 minutes. Yeah, all right. Okay. Hello. Hi, Bob. Bunny? Yes. How are you? Great. Say, you're keeping busy today, are you? That's beautiful. She's 20 million the first 3 hours. I saw that. Rose just sent your report in. Yeah. Question was, what is the record gain? Do you know? The record gain was, give me that Dow Jones, I think it was 32 something. I believe I have it right here, Bob. Okay. Dow
Jones says here the industrial average is now up 34 points. I think it's 35 a minute ago. The previous record gain was about 32 points.
About 32 points. You
About
don't...
32, and you'll be wrong by 5 cents, you know.
Okay. Well, do you know what day it was?
Well, that was the big date of our
Day after your dinner.
of the dinner. That's right. So this breaks the dinner record.
Well, not necessarily, because you haven't closed.
Oh, but I mean it's at the minute.
Yeah. What's the volume? Record.
It's 19 million.
No, I got that, but I mean, what's the record volume?
The record volume is 28,250.
Right.
Give or take 1 or 2 shares.
Was that was in February, wasn't it?
And that was, yes, but that was occasioned by the fact that there was a course of 3 million Studebaker that day. You know, it was one of those things that just happened.
3 million, huh?
Yeah.
Are there are no blocks today, are there?
There are no big, but nothing like that today. There was a big block somebody bought and somebody sold 3 million, so that's why it was up. Previous to that, it was 25 million. So, in any case, the 28 million, I think, will go through like breeze. The way it's going now will be 30 or better.
They won't close the exchange, huh?
No chance. This is the New York Stock Exchange, not Philadelphia.
What's your view on will they start selling off now? Profit taking, in other words, you'll drop below that 35, won't you?
Well, at this second, we're
still going
at the absolute top, which is 35.
Yeah.
What the hell do I know, Bob?
Yeah.
If I knew
What does
more,
anybody know?
I'd be...
You know more, you get rich, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I would say this, that the whole key to the stock market always is confidence, and the president's speech has given us all confidence. I think the whole country. So even if it reacts 10 points from here, I think they're on the way up.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, they could keep on going today, or they could close in a burst of glory and be above the 35.
Yeah. Okay.
If you'd like, I'll send in word to you at the close, just where we stand, volume and averages.
Good. Well, you've been keeping Rose posted.
Yeah.
So that'd be fine.
Yeah, that's what I always tell Rose, because the president call me that way.
Right.
In any event, I'll keep on giving the stuff to Rose.
Right.
Everything okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Okay, buddy.
Keep the flag flying. That was beautiful.
Righto. Okay.
Secretary Connally, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. President?
Oh.
Mr. President, Mr. Haldeman calling you.
Hello. Yes, sir.
What I was calling you about was the you were trying to reach Connally. He's over at the Fantasy having dinner. And they can ring in there if you want him to.
No. He called me.
Yeah, he had called you earlier, and he had some things he wanted to, some good news he wanted to give you. He
Right.
gave it to me to pass on to you, but I know he'd like to tell you if you want to call him.
Well, fine.
Or I'll cover it with you if you don't need to either way. He said not to have you call him.
Well, if he's at dinner, I don't think I'd call him.
Okay. What he wanted to tell you was that he had talked to Joe Kilgore, former congressman.
Right.
And he's been at lunch at the Headliner Club that's down there in Bedford, and with a bunch of top people, and talked to many people from all walks of life during the day. And so he got all praise for what he did, not one word of criticism. All excited about that. Good. Jake Pickle and others have been there. Good. But that was quite a thing. And he wanted to report that the U.S. Treasury securities had one of the strongest days in corporate bonds and everything else. Done extremely well today. Pushed the rate down from 8 and 8 to 7.95. Municipal bonds down pretty well. And his big news was that he had a call from Jim Rhodes, General Motors, who was issuing a statement tonight saying that General Motors was suspending their 72 price increases and will hold the 71 prices through the freeze on the new model. Which means that knocks out, instead of the 100 you had asked him to knock out, it knocks out 176. And that doing, he can do that in April, so it's hard. That's right. Yes, he's doing that in light of the president's courageous action. So he was, just took a think with that, and he was doing awful good about the press conference the whole day, and he just, really pretty.
Really upbeat. Good.
Oh, yeah. And he kept talking about how proud he was of you. Really a great thing. I covered it to him on the matter. He was the guy that had done the work, got it rolling. I didn't do a phone call on Thursday. You said you were coming up, something had to be done. I said, yeah, but he said any jackass can come up with the idea. But the guy with the balls to do it was just the president.
Well, he must feel good. You know about the first people.
Oh, yeah. And I talked to Arthur. He was perfectly happy, and he was going to talk to Tommy about the Fed thing. The reason he had wanted to talk to you was because Georgia told him that you were
I had a man.
you were going to put in. And I said, well, if you had one, but that it was mine. Yeah. Oh, I did talk to Flanigan about the stock exchange thing, and he feels very strongly that it would be a very inappropriate thing to do.
Good.
Because the people there are just not that class of people that you are.
Yeah, fine. I think I will go up early, however.
Want to go?
Well, I just don't want to, if I stick around here, I'm going to get my thing cluttered up, Bob, with the jackasses that come in wanting to sign papers, and my election's going to bring something. I need to get up and get to who's thinking about this speech.
You turn that off. You'd rather get up, that's fine. No problem with it either way.
I think there's something to be said to get up there and get in the room. You know what I mean? I've got to get it over with. I I just don't want to. Just don't want to be here. When I'm out of town, everybody will not love. That's right. And there, I need to. That's fine. Hopefully, let's see. That'll take some time for about 12. Then after that, she might have moved. She might have moved to have that swearing in thing. Right. But I guess it'll say 12:30. That's at 1. So figure leaving at 1:30. That's what we were talking about. Leave at 2. Leave at 2. All right. Connelly's really up. He can call me. Good. Oh.
Mr. President, I have Mr. Flanigan for you now, sir.
Okay. President. Oh, Pete? Congratulations. Did you have a good sale? Well, I got caught in a hurricane, but that was nothing to what you were doing down here. Yeah, well, we shook them up. Yes. Tell me, how is the thing with Peterson tomorrow? Is shaking up? All right. I don't want to. I just want to be sure that we don't go in there and have a terrible blow fall on the Japanese this time. So be very careful. Textile people, what we do for them in October is what is important. But if we have to take a rap from the now, let's take it. But don't go in and give many assurances. And I don't want to see Milliken. I don't want to do. I don't want to do anything that now would put they're taking the Japanese taking a hell of a beating now. And this gives us a bargaining position. We'll work this out. Textile people have got to have faith after that. We've got it worked out with the Milliken thing. It's all fine. We're not going to sue you. Good. Perfectly satisfied. We're not going to say that you assure them that in 2 months, by October 15th, everything will be done, but rather that the administration now has a plan. We believe it will produce what they need. I think what you can say is that, gentlemen, the result of the president's announcement on Sunday night, the whole situation has changed. Our bargaining position radically changed. You know this. Have faith in us, and we pledge to you it's going to work out. Just sort of like that. Right. You think so? Yes, sir. I don't think we have to get any more than that. They've got no place to go. And let me say, if they don't take that, well, fine. Let them go scream around. But we were working on it. I think that'll be just right. But don't let them think. I don't want any of them going out and say that we are going to impose quotas. See? I understand. Good. We won't do it. Mr. President, I'm sorry I wasn't here when I could have been most helpful. Oh, no. That was fine. It worked out. Your stock market did all right today, didn't it? Congratulations. 2 records, volume and increase. That's great. Well, it does. That's giving us confidence. Yeah. Well, it certainly has at this time. That's right. Apparently, they should have confidence. I just got the home building figures. My God, they're over $2 million now. Isn't that extraordinary? And the interesting thing is that the permits that say what's coming down the road are also way up from where they had been. Yeah. Well, the point is that the economy really is a hell of a lot stronger than people think it is. That's right. And now, this may spark the thing. This may go. I think we have to be very imaginative as to what we do 90 days. Oh, yeah, I know. But I think it's now. But if it's moving, we can do it. The bond market was also very strong. So the interest rate did start down. Yeah, that's a curious. Why would that happen? Arthur said that too, but I couldn't understand it. He predicted actually the opposite, Burns said the interest rates were going to go up. Well, because of the gold thing. He's terribly concerned about going off the gold. Well, I'm not money on gold. They're going that money on dollars. That's good, isn't it? The bond market is good. Yes, sir. And interest rates come down. That was about 1 o'clock. Just get a close on the market. But I think that's very encouraging. I presume it's what they believe that this is going to have an effect on the cost of living. And if it does, they take that part of the interest equation out of it. Well,
So
shook them up anyway.
it was a bold move, and it was exceedingly well executed, and I'm sorry that A, I wasn't here to help, and B, that I wasn't here to share the benefit.
Oh, well, you get the fun of seeing it now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Rebozo, please.
Thank you. Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Rebozo on the line. Safire, sir.
Yeah. Hello, President. Bill, I'm going to send over to you this thing you sent in, some notes that Ray Price sent on that I think can be incorporated. I've cut some things out of the you sent, right? And page 3 of your draft, I marked Price over with sort of changes of the No, not tonight. No, tomorrow. Okay, I'll get it. Thank you.
Woods, please.
And Paul Keith called today, and Jack Brown, and several people who had tried to call last night, but I guess couldn't get through. And the reaction is just universal. Just great. They're all pleased, and people around them, Jack told about some waitresses that he heard in the coffee shop today, and a banker who said in some small town there was relatively small, 55, 60,000, and already has 6 bank loans for new cars today. But I'm glad you went.
Not over to Safire, another draft, but I just.
Is that another draft for tomorrow night? You mean?
Mr. Andrews and Ray Price's office, please.
Thank you.
Senator Ruska, please. Yeah.
Mr. Andrews for you.
Hello.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Yeah. I think I would like to start off on a new tack on the VFW thing. I got your thing on the Eagle thing, which I think is very good, but I don't think it's quite the appropriate thing for this point. These are not a particularly sophisticated group, and I think the ideas are fine, but I think not. I'll tell you what I would like to do. I'd like to take sort of the end of my talk on Sunday night, and then I'd take off from there. Well, first of all, sort of start with the proposition that you say that the VFW is made up of men who have fought for America abroad, and let's get that point. And that now we have a new challenge, the challenge of peace, and that challenge requires first that we keep America strong, and a little on that. Second, that we honor America's peacetime armed forces. In other words, let's don't run down the military, something that's out of our the West Point, Newport deal, where let's be proud of. Third, it's necessary for America to compete, and that this is going to require that their support of our our initiatives on terms of that we don't want to build just a wall around ourselves and so forth. That we welcome peaceful competition, and that this requires not only action in terms of supporting wage price and all that sort of thing, mainly the spirit. That let's be proud of this country and proud of its background and so forth. That's sort of the line I'd like to sort of develop. We just try something on that. We don't. There's no hurry on it because I won't have to see anything on it until we'll say Wednesday, Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning is when I have to see it. Fine. And you probably ought to go along on the trip so that you can. Fine. But I think if you could talk to Ray. Ray's got, I think, somewhat the same thought too, that we ought to take that in. We're going to hit that theme in the Knights of Columbus, and I think hitting it again here, say some of the same things that we say at the Knights of Columbus thing too. Just sort of the same things. It doesn't matter if we repeat, you see. But I think the themes that let's keep America strong. So that to keep America strong, of course, we have to have a strong economy. That's one of the challenges of peace, jobs, and all that sort of thing. And that we've got to also have a strong spirit for America. The VFW, of course, the members of people that can provide that is better than anybody else like that. Okay? Yeah. Right. Good. Sort of take those themes, if you will, and sort of try a new tack on it. Fine. Good. Fine.
Senator Haldeman didn't think he could hear it.
Oh, fine. Oh, that's, let it go.
All right.
Fine.
Thank you.
Safire.
Yes, President.
Andrews is working on the VFW. And the materials that you will not use here, or he can work with that. Yeah, so if you would talk to him, working on some of the stuff that Ray has to do with Right. Don't use it all, though. I mean, as I say, don't throw it all away. Use what you need for this. What other stuff, throw it into here. Okay? That's all right. That's what he wants to do. No, well, you may be right. Slam in there. In other words, to be more newsworthy. He may be right. I think he may be right. But he would just sort of be an echo now. Later on, he would be a real power. Good. Erhlichman? Yeah. Yes, sir. How'd the briefing go?
I thought first rate. Connally was tired, but he rose to his subject, I'll tell you.
He always does.
And he wound it up on a very rousing note.
Did he? Yeah.
very interesting angle that he has. He says, read the last 2 or 3 pages of the president's speech and think about him sitting in the early hours of the morning in his cabin at Camp David, thinking about this country all by himself. He said this will give you a little of the flavor of the president's conviction, the depth of his conviction, the concern he has about the future of this country. He says it's only if you understand how that speech was written that you begin to get a true appreciation for the quality of his sincerity and the depth of his concern. Isn't that good?
He's really got a touch.
He sure has. There was an interesting little byplay that the vice president, complimented him on his press conference and the adroit manner in which he handled a number of questions. And he said, I might say, particularly the adroit manner in which you handled the question about your possible nomination as vice president. He got a great laugh.
Well, that was good. They seem to have a good spirit.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Excellent. And I think I heard a lot of comments from people afterwards, and they were uniformly impressed with Arthur Burns.
Good.
Who did a very good job.
Good.
So I think it was worth doing, and we got an enormous turnout.
Oh.
Compared to other sessions that we've had at that same group.
Yeah.
Considering it was the summertime, I'm very gratified.
So it was good for them. They all feel part of the team.
Right.
Big play. Part of a cause bigger than themselves, that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
They need to feel that. And Connally did the right thing.
Yeah. Well, he really challenged me.
Good.
Excellent. I understand that you got a chance to talk to John Mitchell a little bit about our antitrust problem.
Yeah, he said he'd do it.
We did. Fine. Good.
I told him in light of what we're doing here. He said it violates all the laws we have. John, I don't know if it violates all of the laws.
No, my information is that it definitely does not. And that a very valid distinction can be drawn.
The McLaren, of course, is really a menace because it's so well, he's got his group around.
Well, but this was an insidious thing. It really worried me. It was so fervent, so deep. And John doesn't have time to get into this stuff in depth, but he takes it pretty much as big as I do. But this may be a turning point.
Well, having taken the move you made coming out of the move, John, doing all these things, you just got to not turn down the attempt of an American company to be competitive in the world. You need a big company, not a big steel company. That's what I said. That's all about.
Very good.
Well, that's good. Fine.
Yeah, I'm particularly appreciative of your coming over. I think that really set the tone for the thing.
Well, I should
Lifted it up. Well, it wasn't necessary.
But really done the cabinet. Did that. That gives them a shot.
How'd the cabinet perform this morning? Did Romney have anything to say?
Oh, yes. He's fine. He's usually raised it. Well, we really got to get at the heart of this thing. That's correct. I'm going to do that next But he, of course, it's sort of hard for Romney and Stan, frankly, who really feel they should have been there. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't be there. If we ever started a break over, if you had Stan, you'd have to have Hutch, Romney, you've got to have both of them. And, they've got everybody there, and we wouldn't have kept it up. And also, we'd never gotten through. Yeah. But it's all right. Then, housing.
Yeah, he should. We're pouring a lot of dough.
Right. Okay.
All right, sir. Good night.
Which president had Patricia calling you? All right, fine. There you are. Thank you.
You'll be.
Yes? Yes, please.
Secretary Connally, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
Hello?
Mr. President, Secretary Connally is in a meeting in the Roosevelt room. Shall I get him there?
Oh, no.
No? Leave room when he's free?
No, I'll call him back.
All right, fine.
You get Julie for me, please.
Oh.
Secretary Connally, please.
Thank you.
Hello. Yes, sir. John, I wanted you to know I didn't tell them this morning because we hadn't yet cleared it with the speaker, because the astronauts were going to speak at the Congress at Thursday, but we've cleared them away, and I am going forward at 12:30 Thursday.
Oh, 12:30 Thursday.
With the speech to the Congress. Right. I thought we ought to hit them right after they got back. I think that's great. And I worked all weekend on the speech, and I'm going to work on it all day today, and so forth. I haven't a hell of a lot new to say, except that we're going to have stage 2. You know, but I think it's all right. What do you think? I mean,
I think it's all right. I really do, and I assume they've mentioned to you this other possibility. I don't know what your reaction to it is. If you just you really become prime minister for an hour. I don't know.
Oh yeah. My reaction is extremely favorable to it. You mean to answer questions?
Yeah.
And the problem is that doing it there. I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do is to try doing it by inviting them down, inviting 300 down into the East Room. I don't mean not on this, but a later time, and do the Q&A. I think it's a damn good. Let me tell you the problem with doing it there. The problem with doing it there is that having done it there once, you see, in a sense, as you know, there's a very technical problem here about it. As you may recall, when there was a question whether Washington should even go to the Congress. And then Wilson was the first president after Washington ever to address them in person and so forth. Once it is done, and I've been checking this whole thing out, once it is done, the question is whether or not then your demagogues can say, well, the president came down when he wanted to, now we demand that he come down when we want him to. On the other hand, if I invite him up here, say a couple, 250 or so, I can do them in the East Room just like I do a press conference, and say, now gentlemen, I'll start off, for example, let's suppose I return from the Chinese thing. Gentlemen, instead of making a report to the nation, I'd just like to tell you briefly and then take your questions, and then let the questions come.
I think that's probably wise.
Of course, I'd love to do it the other way, because it would just be the smash hit of the age.
Yeah, it really would, but it would be precedent setting, I'm afraid.
Well, it isn't, as I said, I wouldn't mind doing it if it were the very last day of the last session.
Right.
But I think that we have a problem that they then could have, you've got executive privilege, you've got all these other things that are sort of tied into it. That's right. But boy, it appeals to me, and I'm going to use the Q&A format as much as possible. For example, I'm going to do the Detroit Economic Club, things like that, to get this across. But I think doing it with the Congress is just a superb idea. I did some of that at the time of Cambodia. I called in the committee, both the Foreign Relations and Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Appropriations, so forth, about 150, and answered questions, but it was not on television. But I think answering questions for the Congress on television, as distinguished from the press, is a change of pace that would have high dramatic quality. I do too. Don't you think so? Sure, I sure do. And I'd like to do it in that hall, but I just...
I can understand your reluctance, and I must say I basically agree with it. I just don't think you can set a precedent, because that would bind you, or any successor.
I'm not perhaps so concerned myself, except that you say, all right, I've gone down, and then let's suppose you have a hell of a crisis, or like Cambodia, or they have a riot in the streets, and they say, we demand, or they have a joint resolution asking the president to come down and answer questions. That's right. It's not a good idea, you see. Maybe times he shouldn't answer questions. That's right. But if I have him down here, that's a very different thing, and I've invited him. Right. But I think the speech has to be made, and I think we can charge him up again with a little on the... I'm going to continue to hit this productivity and hard work and keep our trading options and so forth and so on.
Well, I think I don't know what the material you have for your speech, but
we've gotten it from everybody.
But Pete had a lot of good stuff there this morning.
Yes, he did.
In terms of figures and what's happened to us. That's right. That might be of use.
Right. But I personally think on this that the reason I asked you to talk briefly this morning. Oh, let me tell you what we've decided in the cabinet thing, because I think you'd be interested. I've been looking at plans that we have for various things, to get this stuff across. And the one weakness I have seen is we aren't making enough use of the enormous support among women for this program. Right. The women, by golly, they're for wage and control. So, on occasion, about 3, I have had meetings of our cabinet with their wives. So what I'm going to do Friday morning, and you'll get a notice either today or tomorrow as soon as they get the time. They're going to announce it tomorrow morning. I'm going to invite the cabinet and their wives in for a briefing on economic policy. Now, the purpose of this is twofold. One, so that the wives know what the hell's going on. But second, some of these wives, they go out, they talk, and so forth and so on. And I think it'll be great symbolism. The idea of don't you think so? I sure do. And we're going to try that Friday as a format for just sort of a general cabinet meeting. Well, some of the cabinet's going to be in the spot now. We got the Japanese here. In the morning? Yes, sir. Our meeting is, as I understand it, it's 9:30. Yeah, we won't have. We'll start meetings with Japanese. Well, we may move it to Monday then. Yeah. We can move it to Monday. Yeah, no problem. We'll check out that's why I say we're just checking the times out. Okay. Right. Okay, sir. Could you get me General Hughes, please?
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. President, General Hughes is at the Pentagon. He'll be back about 5:30. Could I locate him, or?
No. Albertazzi, can you get him?
All right, let me check.
Colonel Albertazzi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I have Colonel Albertazzi on.
Yeah. Hello? Yes, sir? Say, what is the flight time to Anchorage if you came from Washington?
From Washington to Anchorage, Mr. President,
Yeah.
7 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, and
the other way, it's 6 hours and 30 minutes coming back from Anchorage to here.
7:10. Okay.
7:10 going up, 6:30 coming back.
Thank you.
Very good, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Nixon, please.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
There you are.
please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello.
I have Mr. Colson for you, Mr.
Yeah.
President. Thank you.
Market held pretty well.
I know.
It was up 7 most of the day, and a little profit taking at the end. But
Right.
and that's after the Friday we had. I think that's very encouraging.
Yeah, it's a good solid day.
Sure is.
Right.
And a good volume.
Yeah.
Which shows that the confidence.
Well, the speech is probably not going to. It isn't going to give much of a lift. There's nothing much new in it. But on the other hand, I guess the fact it's made keeps momentum.
The fact that it's interesting, Mr. President. The wire service leads are just the way I would have liked to have written them had I been able to. It said that the President is determined to maintain the initiative, is keeping the leadership in the program, shows his determination. It's really very good. President Nixon moved Tuesday to keep the initiative in the resumed session of the 92nd Congress with a personal appeal for his broad new economic program. Now, I think the fact that you go up there and consider it of such importance that you address the Congress, I think it'll be the kind of fire that we want to light under them.
Yeah.
And thus far, the reports really are coming very well from there. There's a lot of enthusiasm. As they come back in, a lot of enthusiasm. And, of course, these polls have helped. That politicians read those. But I haven't, other than the partisan stuff we took on Labor Day, which we'd expect to take, there really has been very little grumbling or weakening. I think our fellows are in good shape on this one.
Right.
I didn't convey to you this morning. We are really turning about number one political priority. I've had a bright young guy who has been working on drugs and crime and that sort of stuff, and I've just told him all that.
Right. One thing we want to do, of course, we got a big gun sort of in the wings in Arthur Burns. Right. I noticed your memorandum covered him, and boy, we really got to trot him out. He has said he was going to wait, and actually he always does. Yeah. But until, he's going to be paid attention to. But about next week, he could have one hell of an effect.
But I noted you put the September 15th on the margin, and I think that's just right. I think
somebody talking to him or anything? Or?
Well, Bill Safire has talked to him 3 times.
He has?
And Bill had him one day agreeing that he would go on and do a network interview, and then he called back and changed his mind. Then he was back on, and he's back. God, he's a temperamental fellow.
Well, if the guy would just even come out and make a major speech or something, or for that matter, I don't know.
Well, I think he'll have to testify, Mr. President, if Don did. That's, of course, going to be a damn good forum for him. And but I'd like to get him before that. I'd like to get a double shot at it. I'd like to get either a major speech or a television interview. And then schedule him in to testify. The hearings are being booked now 2 weeks in advance. So I'm trying to get by the morning a complete list of the witnesses. I know that a lot of the business groups are lining up their testimony, and they're already scheduled in. The Chamber of Commerce is scheduled.
Arthur will have effect when he testifies, but Safire should emphasize to him, look, Arthur, don't get frittered away. You're the big gun. We're all counting on you to go at the right time.
Well, he will be helpful.
I'll talk to him too when we have the cabinet quadriad. Well, we're going to have him to the cabinet. That's right. But I think having.
Well, Bill has got good rapport with him, and
I know.
And I'll keep
Bill's point should be that, look, you're the big gun, and the president's not going to press you, but he wants you to pick your time and then come in and let salvo loose.
Okay. Yes, sir. Hobe Lewis called this afternoon to say that he's having a very good reaction from people he's contacting around the country. He's gotten some good Democrats. He even thinks he's got Walter Heller lined up, which should be a real stroke if we get him. And he's got some Democratic businessmen working for him and some money coming in. And so I think he's a good organizer. We'll have a good citizens effort going on the outside.
Mrs. Nixon, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nixon, sir.
Barry Goldwater.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, please.
Secretary Connally, please.
Thank you. And Mr. President, you want Senator, don't you? Goldwater?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, sir.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's back, though, from California. He may not be.
I'll probably locate him.
Either one.
Yes.
I'll take Secretary Connally first.
Yes, thank you. He's here, sir. Secretary Connally.
Hello. Yes, sir. Well, they loaded you down since you've been back? Yes, sir. So awful to come back.
I'm over in George's office now. We're talking about what I'm going to say tomorrow with Arthur and Holmes back in, and I've got to testify tomorrow.
I see. Oh, that's right. We're tomorrow.
We just finished the cost of living council. We came up here for a few minutes, and we'll see in another 5 minutes or so.
Fine. Well, I'm glad that we determined to go forward on this speech to the Congress. I think that keeps the monkey right on their back, don't you think so?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
Well, I haven't got a hell of a lot new to say, except that we are going to have an ongoing program, that the freeze will end, but that will be an ongoing program. And then, of course, I think just lifting the curtain a little bit on some of that stuff we heard this morning isn't a bad idea. What do you think?
I agree with that.
You don't, doesn't bother you, does it?
No, sir.
And it doesn't bother you to?
No, sir.
Remember that we want to examine tax policies and a lot of for the future. I think that the only way you're going to keep them, John, from loading this thing up with a damn Christmas tree is to say, let's look at this later. I don't know whether that'll work, but what do you think? What did you think of that cockeyed thing of Muskie's?
Oh, well, that's ridiculous.
My God, I mean, $100 for anybody that'll buy anything but an automobile. Now, what's that prove? Well, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it. I mean,
well, of course, they're all desperate.
Yeah,
see, they're all desperate.
That one I just thought to be laughed out of. They'll ask you about it tomorrow, I'm sure, but well, they may not.
They may not. Well, but they're all desperate to try to grab something and try to make an issue and to try to distinguish somehow what they want to do as opposed to what you've already recommended. And the truth of the matter is, you've just substantially blown them out of the ball field.
We covered the base too well.
Yeah, sure. They're not even in the game at this moment.
Yeah. Did the meeting you think the Japanese meeting is well set now, do you?
Yes, sir.
I think
I don't know how much of that you're going to have in your speech, but if you're going to get into that general area, long-term goals, if you have any time, a little later or tomorrow, I'd love to spend 10 or 15 minutes with you. I had a long visit with Henry at lunch today.
Yeah, he told me about
that. And he was going to visit with you, and I don't think there's anything that you ought to necessarily get in your speech, but you oughtn't to foreclose any of the possibilities either.
Right. Foreclose them in the speech. I mean, in the internet.
Yeah, in the international field, I just leave it open as you can right here.
Oh, don't worry.
I just think he and I discussed some things that I think we really need to sit down after you're.
We're in a strong position, and I feel so strongly that we don't want to, John, to get to rescue this international monetary thing too soon. let it.
We can't, and that's what we want to talk to you about. About how you structure this thing, because you got a problem with negotiations that may go on for a year, and frankly, I don't think you've got the setup to carry on these kind of negotiations. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Good. Okay. Well, don't worry. I won't foreclose the damn thing, because I believe that, having taken this enormous risk, which many thought, well, you remember what the dire predictions were. By golly, we've now bought the time, and
no question about it. Now they're plotting against us.
And the Europeans?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
No question about it.
Sure. So we're plotting against them. But that's the way we're going to play the game. Well, that's fine. That's right. Incidentally, you would it warmed your heart to hear 40,000 milk producers. My God, that you were right. That's an organization.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. It's the best in the country.
They had 40,000 in one room. You know,
Isn't that amazing?
in that McCormick Hall, the darn place I'd never seen. It's the size of 3 football fields.
Did they give you a good reception?
Oh, they cheered and yelled, and you know what I mean. Of course, particularly when I talked about the fact that that people ought to work rather than be on welfare.
Well,
that's what they like to hear.
You bet it is. And that's great.
I'm going to put that in the speech too.
Well, I think that's the line you have to take, and I think that's the line you have to take on this budget. I think you have to be tough on the budget.
I am. I'm going to say that we've got to be restrained, that we can't have tax cuts without spending cuts. Right. Okay. All right, sir. Fine job. Thank you.
You tell Mr. Price to come to Lincoln City. All of them, please.
This will go. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But I think this is a now the only other thing that the only thing open is whether we do it in Portland or in San Francisco. Now we still have open, of course, the possibility of doing Portland at a later time when we come out with that Eisenhower Center thing. We could crack up to Portland then and do it. So it's San Francisco, and I really believe too bad a time to do it. Spend the night there.
And the night, and take the heat. And if they want to come out, raise hell. Could we stay at another place? Maybe it's so easy to congregate at St. Francis, out there in the square. Maybe we stay at the Mark Hopkins or at the possibility of that. Well, how about doing it? Nope. It's worse. Well.
Stay downtown. Have it down on the theory that people are coming in from all
Close
over
to the airport.
Have it down near the airport.
How about picking a good airport hotel, having it down there? It's a little harder for them to congregate, but you see, that place, Bob, is so logical for people to come. Every drunk, hippie, and everything else. That's right, the airport. And I really feel that doing it close to the airport, in a nice airport hotel, rather than going into San Francisco. That sounds like a pretty good thing. Yeah. Yeah, there may be, but there may be a good airport hotel we can stay in. Go right into the airport, stay at the airport, have it there, and so forth, rather than up there in San Francisco, where it has college problems. Yeah. Okay? Right. Okay.
Very good.
Bye.
Next topic.
Yes, please.
Would you ask Mr. Price to come to the EOB, please?
Mr. Raymond Price.
Yeah, just get him on the phone. Please.
Sure he will.
Yeah.
Mr. Ray Price. Ready?
Yes, sir. I'm having several of these pages retyped, but it's if you'd bring over an extra copy with you so we can talk about it while we go along, okay?
All right. Would like me to come over?
Yeah. Hello?
Would like me to come over now?
Yeah, anytime. Yeah.
Mr. Erhlichman, sir. There you are.
Thank you. Hello, Ray. No, John Erhlichman, Mr. President. No, I'm just talking to Ray. I'm sorry. John, I was just talking to Ray, he has already talked to you about this, and we're working on some more of it, and we'll run the final thing by. But as it is now, I think lifting the lid just a little on this is rather essential in this speech, so we've got a little bit of something new. Mm-hmm. And I think particularly the part on research, in that it fits in with the noon guys. They're going to be there at 2 o'clock. Yeah. It fits in. It doesn't bother you now. Not a bit. I like very much the stuff he read. How about the tax thing? The tax thing bothers George, but I don't. I guess George withdrew his exceptions after we went through it. But anyway, I don't have any trouble with it at all. All right, fine. Very good, John.
Yes, please.
It's Ray Price, please.
Yes, sir.
Ray. Yes. I have something on at 6, I find. Mm-hmm. So let's set a deadline of 5 o'clock. Or if you're through sooner, which you may be, just bring it over then. I'll be here in the EOB. But I think 5 o'clock should be our latest time then, because we'll need an hour to do the last nitpicking. You've got to go out too, I know.
I may run into trouble getting to Connally. He's still up on the hill, and they don't know if he's going to be back.
Well, look, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll just let that one go.
I was just I was just talking to George Schultz. He says they're going ahead and they've got the meeting set up and so forth now.
Then you're working out that language.
Yes, I'm working that out with him.
Work that language out with him, and on the other one, just don't worry about it, because Connally's already told me on the phone it's okay. I just dropped the call to him.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, please.
Mr. Price, please.
Thank you. Mr. President?
Yeah.
Mr. Price.
Ray, I talked to Henry about that foreign policy thing, and there is a technical problem we've got because of something that's going on in Paris at the moment. He raised, I said we had changed the earlier language. Let me suggest this. Try this language out on him. I believe that as America now brings to a conclusion the longest and most difficult war in its history. We can look forward with confidence. Try that out on him. If that does not work, then we'll simply have to strike the, as a result of major nation-field foreign policy, we can look forward with confidence to generation of peace. You see, you could even leave out the war business altogether, see. If so, if there's any problem, say that. But if there is, if there isn't, we might move it that way, but I'll decide it finally.
Try this language on Henry, though.
Yeah, try that language. I believe that as America now brings to a conclusion the most longest and most difficult.
And then you'd be going back to the two things. You'd have that and the other foreign policy line as you had originally.
The other foreign policy. No. This is the same.
This would still be the same.
It's all the same. It's the same. I'm working on the same text. We have it now. I believe that as America now completes, and I'm just saying brings to a conclusion.
All right, and so this would still have, as a result of our many initiatives too.
Yeah, there are two ways we can do it. We can just write the sentence. If he feels that it's too sensitive to talk about the war at all, we can say, as a result of major initiatives in the field of foreign policy, we can look forward with confidence to a generation of peace. It may be that that's just the best way to do it, rather than, what do you think, rather than raising the war thing at all?
I think if the war thing can be done, it's going to be in people's minds, and it probably strengthens it, but it's probably not necessary.
But it's not necessary, but try that on him, okay?
Okay.
And if there is a problem, we'll just leave it up. Okay.
Yes, please.
Sorry, Price, can I have my office, please?
Yes, sir. Price's office.
Oh, have we got a word count on this yet?
Yes, sir. 3197, and Alex Butterfield wants to have a word with you about he has a question on it. Shall I bring you a copy?
Of his question?
No, a copy of the draft.
No, I've got the draft.
Okay, will you call Alex?
3197.
3197. Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Can I have Alex Butterfield? I think he may be in Nellie Yates' office.
Thank you. Be right with you, sir.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, it's Ray. Yeah. I'm in the President's office in the EOB, and he'd like to have Nell come over here if we can.
Okay, he knows we're typing now, and we're about on page 7.
Okay. Alex, if you know they're typing it now, and they're about on page 7. This? Yeah. They're getting started on this, oh, wow.
Well, we'll come over there. We'll come over there, right?
But these are small, so.
Right.
Just a second.
They better stop then, because you see, we go page 6, you start some questions.
So just have her come over.
Yeah, so she took up the balance of the changes that I have.
Yeah, you might come over. There are a fair number of changes beginning about where you are.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Could you get me Miss Nell Yates, please, and the, I think she's over in the West Wing. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello. How are you coming on that draft?
Mr. President, I'm on page 9. I wasn't leaving enough space in between, and I had to start over, but I'm going really fast now, and I hope to
Take your time. Take your time.
All right.
As a matter of fact, we need
8:30 is plenty of time. When you finish it,
Yes, sir.
if you could bring it over to the Lincoln sitting room, I'll be here, and then I'll take a quick look and to see if there's any change we need to be made.
Fine. It
Okay,
you may
but-
not like my spacing, but
Then,
we'll
I
take a
don't
look.
know, hell of it. It doesn't make any difference.
It does not?
No, it isn't all that important. Just, run it off,
All
and,
right.
because I can read it either way, and don't worry about it, because you have known one before. Don't let it worry you.
All right, I
You
won't.
just finish it, don't rush too much, and I'll see you about 8:30,
Thank you, Mr. President.
if that works out, or 8:45, whenever it is.
All
Okay?
right. Yes, sir.
Fine.
Fine.
At Lincoln Sitting Room, whenever you get there. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Butterfield? Yeah. So,
Mr. President,
yeah.
it'd be helpful to you if I brought up 2/3 of this. It's going to run 21 pages about, and I've got 14 of them.
Oh, no. Just wait till she finishes it all and she brings it up, then I can,
Okay.
then I can look it over and tell her if there's any page I want to change, okay? Fine, no. Don't rush her, though, because, she hasn't done it for this first time.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
hurry. I'm in good shape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've got this paper. I might as well bring it over now, sir, unless you don't want it until the morning. This one page that Neil just typed.
Oh, yeah. Just send it over and leave it on the table. She's already finished.
Yes, sir. It's fine.
Oh, fine. Just leave it on the table. Manola's out there.
Okay. We'll get to Manolo. One thing while you're on here, sir. We wanted to know whether or not you wanted makeup tomorrow. We wanted to get him lined up
Oh, no.
early in the morning. You sure you don't? Because. Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you.
I think I don't want to. Okay.
All right, sir.
Butterfield, please. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
with regard to the church today, we're going to change the format. We decided to have the Grahams for lunch.
Oh, okay, sir.
So we'll meet down in the red room at, say, 11.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
Have them here.
Right.
And just walk there. Just we'll all meet there. We can meet there. The ones that will be all over and have to meet.
All right. Meet in the red room.
Now, I'd like to know what part of Graham's family are coming, so I know where to cut off the lunch. Does he have any of his children coming?
I'm in Lucy's office right now. Let me just check with her quickly.
Well,
I know he has his mother.
I know. And is his wife coming?
And his wife is coming.
All right.
Right. Well, I can get that to you, sir.
Yeah, well, I need to know so that I can know whether to have it. Well, anyway, we'll need the Haydens, not the singer.
Right.
The Haydens, the Grahams, and their mother. And then I think, and any, I don't know what other relative that they, I don't want any brothers and sisters.
Do you want any children?
No, I don't want their children. They're having their children.
Well,
Well, anyway,
that's it. He's got a boy on 18 years old.
just check me out the children.
All right.
Check me out the children. The Grahams.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I just think there's that one child that's the Hayden, who's an 18-year-old boy. And the Grahams, I think that's it on the Grahams. They're close relatives right there. Yeah, Lucy's nodding. That's it.
He is not having children or any other relative.
No. Well, so I think you've got.
How many would that make?
You got Hayden's 2, Graham's 2, the mother 1. Boy, if you include the 18-year-old, it's 6 people.
Well, that leaves us.
All right, sir. We'll do that.
Graham and their son.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Three granddaughters are coming with their husbands. Yeah, granddaughters.
Maybe 6 more.
Yeah, maybe 6 more. Yeah. And 2 sisters and a brother, with their spouses.
I think it's too many then.
I do too, and that's
They,
pretty close.
I think they're too close.
Yeah.
All right, then have the
Just up before the service.
yeah.
Okay. The daughters and their husbands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the 2 sisters and the brother and their spouses. The Haynes, the Grahams, and the mother. Yeah. And we never had planned to have the boy upstairs.
Little boy.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Okay. Well, then on the upstairs group, we had included the Zimmers. We exclude them now because the soloist. That's quite that's 6. 6. It's going to be pretty close to 18 people. Before the service, and then forget the lunch?
Yeah, forget the lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe have well, that's a month tour.
All right. All right. Yeah. That'd be nice. I have one question, sir, on another subject. This meeting with Fukuda at 7:30. You said you and Secretary Rogers and Fukuda. Henry was hoping. Henry felt that he should be there, and Alex Johnson as well. And that's the way he had planned it, isn't it?
Sure, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it.
Then Fukuda should go.
Well, I talked to Haig about that. He said this was the way it was laid out, excluding the ambassador, but including Alex Johnson and Henry.
I don't mean our ambassador.
No.
I mean Fukuda's ambassador.
Yeah.
You see, right here you're overloading many Americans.
Yeah,
5 Americans.
That's right. To 1 Fukuda.
Fukuda. If Fukuda can bring, just tell Fukuda he's invited to bring his ambassador if he wants.
Okay. Plus this other group, at least giving the option.
Well,
Fukuda, Rogers, Alex Johnson, Henry, yourself.
I'm sure Fukuda will probably think that.
I will make sure he knows the ambassador.
You check to see whether the Connollys are more interested.
Yeah. Okay, I will.
And also, I'd just like to know for my own information, just when I see at 4 o'clock, I may have dinner with us.
Okay.
Actually, they're not going to be in our box.
No.
Just find out whether they're
All right.
Can you do it without making the
Of course I can.
your end?
Of course I can. I'll be very careful. I'll let you know. Sure. Yeah, I know how to do that.
I'm sure Green.
After the worship service.
Yeah, but I'll
Yeah.
now, Mrs. Nixon says that she had told they'd have the big gift for last night, having their kids
Yeah, I do.
Had several pages.
Yeah, I was there. We took care of it.
Now, situations I asked you, I think there are about 8 kids, right? By the way, probably not. Okay? Well, what I am thinking is I'm going to take off, I'm going to have that whole bunch go up to Camp David there. Right. I'm going to take off the floor. It occurred to me that we wanted to do it. Last little long another. Set up an Eastern thing, round table. Just work out some sort of a. When is the session? 1 week away.
It's the 16th, yeah. Yeah, about a week away. But it was just a small private dinner.
That's what it always was.
Yeah.
With the kids. How many of us? 5.
One of the fellows divorced,
I know.
4 or 5 adults. Lucy thinks 5 or 6 children and 5 adults. Sure, you want to include them keeping that dinner. You were right the first time.
Right.
8 children.
Probably.
2 8. Yeah, 1 6, 2 8-year-olds.
Well, they help you.
Yeah, they're all 10, 11.
You could all put them on the top.
Yeah. So we could set up a separate table.
I think what we'll do is I think what we will do also is the last person has this situation. Let's invite the
Okay, that sounds good. And maybe a separate table for the children.
but not in the same.
No, not the same.
Have them. I think the best thing to do is
Okay, let's see.
3rd floor.
And now your dinner's on